Hi, folks. My mic's on. Where are you? Folks, I'm sending out an SOS. Save our ships, save our souls, but save our sanity. No, I'm not talking about the snow. This is beautiful and pristine. We like our snow. You should experience it too if you can. No, it's not about the cold or the snow or any of this, but recently, I'm hearing some stuff from my neighbors, people around me, my orbit, about what Donald and Elon are doing. Some kind of commotion about over there about how the governments and the Pentagon and the drug companies and everything. It's all music to my ears. And well, I'll give you some examples. In Canada, how about that? In Canada, we have 306, I think what people have in the States and maybe other countries, representatives. Here they're called MPs, members of parliament. And they're each one supposed to represent their very own riding, whatever the size of that riding could be. And then they go to Ottawa, the House of Commons, and depending on who's the party in power and how many seats they have, and then they have how many members of parliament they have, determines who's the party in power. My point is this: 306, 304, 308, anyway, representatives. And in Canada, for as long as I remember, these folks who were supposed to be representing their riding, some in the States they say constituents, they don't here. They vote according to what the prime minister tells them to do. And the best they can do, if they want to avoid doing that for some ethical reasons, is by being absent on the days that there's a vote to be passed on or not passed on, yeas or nays, on the voting day. And if they decide so they don't show up, which means they're voting no, but then they'll pay for it. The prime minister maybe fire them or switch them around, take their ministerial position away from them, whatever. My point is, these folks, I should have done some research before I came out. They get paid a decent amount of money, maybe $200,000 a year, and of that $200,000 a year, I think half of it is not even taxable income. So my point is this: if all of these people, and then there's like an opposition and their leader and their members of parliament, which are more or less, they don't really count if there's if the party in power has the majority of the seats, so it doesn't even matter what these opposition people say. So they're almost completely irrelevant. So, but they all get paid more or less the same amount. If the ones that are ministers, or you call them secretaries in some other countries, they get paid even more. So my point is this: if these people are going to vote according to the one person, the prime minister, anyway, I think you know what I'm about to say. Why do we need these extra 300 people at $200,000 a year that only pay half the tax, as much as a regular citizen would? This is probably one of the things that Elon's doing over there, and good for him, good for Donald, good for them. I'm as a efficiency and productivity standpoint, which I'm all about. It makes no sense that we would pay people to do nothing. They basically do nothing. They might propose a bill, but it's not going to get passed if they're not in majority, or if the prime minister says no. It's all scrapped. And then, like I said, in the case of the opposition members, they're completely irrelevant if the party is in the way minority. They don't even have enough seats to make a difference. They're yay or nay. So that's just one area that can be done away with. Just bye-bye. What is that? Let's do a quick number. $200,000 times 300 seats, right? Yeah. So what is that? 60 million? And then don't forget, they only pay half as much tax. And don't forget, they have expense accounts. They have allowances. They have staff. Oh yeah, let's talk about staff. If each one has 2 staff, they're not getting paid minimum wage. There's that. They have housing allowances. For instance, they're not from Ottawa, so they're from wherever in the country that they happen to be from. They get expense accounts and the housing allowance. So they have to stay at a place in Ottawa. It's not going to be a one-bedroom basement apartment. You know what I mean? Especially if they're ministers, they're going to be, expensive places, or they might buy them a house. And so that's a lot. That's more than the 60 million that I just talked about saving, because there's that. And then if they're ministers, they probably have maybe 5 entourage, and then drivers, and then security. Unbelievable amount of money we can save by not having any of these people. But more than that, let's talk about the army. Why does Canada have an army? I don't understand. A few times, I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just thinking, what do we actually do? What do if it's about protecting your homeland and your country land or your family, whatever, then we can go back to 200-300 years ago when everybody picked up a pitchfork or a rifle or something and protected their own family. And if you have a intentional community of sort, then you just protect that. But to have soldiers going to another country, even if they want to call it peacekeeping, that's expensive stuff. Feeding them. You remember a few years ago during, who was that Dick Cheney guy, how much he contracted his own friends and whatever, what a mess that was. Canada's no different. So it was like they would give me a plate of food and an empty plate on top, and they would charge you for 2 plates of food. And then the catering company, I mean, you know all about this. That's a lot of money we can save. And I remember 25 years ago or so, when I heard about, no, actually, before that, actually go back, maybe 30 years, I thought, I wasn't into politics as much, and I thought, gone are the days where we used to have to need to have an army, like a soldier, with a bayonet and a rifle or whatever, because people go and bomb other countries anyway. Let's not forget what we did. I say we did, but what was done to Japan with Hiroshima and the nuclear bombs. So they just go, they're going to bomb it. So why do we need soldiers? The war's over, game over, done. And then 25 years ago or 20 years ago, I heard about these drones that were from way, way far away, way, way high up, as is probably recording me right now. Hi there. They can shoot from far away. Then there's no anti this and that they can hit a bomber coming overhead, that they can hit them. So that's even safer for the soldiers, for the army. And then fast forward again to 15 years ago or 17 years ago, when I heard about hackers and viruses and whatever. Then I thought, oh my God, you really don't even need drones anymore, because all you need is maybe 100 or 1,000 hackers or whatever they're called today. And all they have to do is go into the system. What does that drone run on? It's not piloted, so it's all digital stuff online. So they can go hack into it and land it or not land it and make it not fire or misfire or whatever they want. They can freeze people's accounts. They can do whatever they want. And if a government that another government likes or doesn't like doesn't have money, their accounts are frozen, doesn't have money to pay its soldier, the soldiers aren't going to go to work. I'm not saying they're the brightest people, as I'm not, but I'm just thinking a soldier might think some soldiers are brainwashed. Some soldiers love the patriotic whatever, and they want someone to tell them hierarchy or the ranking and that to tell them what to do. But they're not so stupid to think that, oh, you know what? While I'm not at home, same goes for police. While I'm not at home, or while I'm not at my whatever town, who's looking after my family? Who's looking after? They know who I am. The neighbors know. They know what I do. Especially this is during some sort of a civil unrest, like recently we had 5 years ago. everywhere. And I never understood that. But what if they're not getting paid by the government because the government's money is frozen? Who's the government? A few people at the very top of this pyramid that support each other's friends, scratch each other's backs raw. Nothing to do with any soldier or police. They don't care about any of them. They don't care about the citizens. And what does it say on the police card? To serve and protect. And to serve and protect who? You notice how it doesn't say at the end of it, to serve and protect the ultra rich or your family or your neighbors. I'm not trying to be offensive. I actually have some friends that are nice police officers, sergeant, one staff sergeant, and folks in the army. I'm just saying, we don't need these ministries or government entities. It's a lot of money for what you get in return, your return on your investment, on our investment. But the list goes on. The list goes on and on and on, like a lottery. How much is a lottery here? The most lottery jackpot here was, I think, 80 million. Only half of it gets paid out, and the other half goes to, where does it go? They say to charity organizations and that, but I like to see how much the executives of, even though it's maybe a government thing, get paid. That supposedly run these things, and that's so profitable. I mean, and sometimes people don't even win in a jackpot. In the States, a jackpot could reach as much as, I don't know, 100 million, and half of it's taxed. I mean, how is that tax being reinvested? How is it being spent? In Canada, there's a lot of mismanagement. In my 40 years, I've seen nothing but mismanagement, which is why I'm thinking, I wish, Donnie, hi Donnie, please come here, or however, but apparently he's paying us $100 million, he's paying Canada $100 million in subsidies, and Canada turns that around, if it's true, I don't know, turns that around and pays it to the oil and gas companies and the pharmaceutical companies and the weapons makers and the, tobacco, softwood lumber, all these people. And then when the politicians retire, they go and become CEOs for these companies. I'm just tired of all the misspending and mismanagement of all the funds, of all the tax money. So it's no wonder so many people just go underground or what do they say? Work under the table, because they don't believe, some of them anyway, don't believe that their money is being spent right. I don't have much income to worry about that part, but I do pay sales tax and property tax and car road tax and gas tax and all that stuff. So I mean, I am still technically a taxpayer. There's so many examples, so many such examples. Which that's what I was saying. I'd like to see us become, if we're getting subsidies from the states anyway, I'd really like us to become the 51st state, like they're promising, but they're probably not going to do it, a 51st state. And for the last star, for the 51st star, they can put a little maple leaf there for all those people that think they're Canadian. And let's talk about Canadians. My understanding is, from my high school years, that the Vikings came in our particular province too, which, by the way, New Brunswick's flag used to have a Viking ship on it. Nice, just a few years ago, just before I came here to this province. So maybe 12 years ago, they still had it, and for some reason removed it for some woke reason or something. I don't understand why. But anyway, that was about 500 years ago when they arrived, and I don't know how long they stayed and before they went back. And after that, well, we had the French come in Quebec. Champlain, I think it was his name. Anyway, in the late 1600s, I think, and then the other waves of immigrants from wherever came. So I personally don't know a red-blooded, blue-blooded, whatever Canadian that would say I am Canadian. There was the natives, and then there was everyone else. Really, everyone else. Literally everyone else. So unless you're a native, that you've been here for, I don't know, 10, forever, 10,000 years. And they are finding evidence of people, First Nations. Yeah, I think there's a proper name for this, First Nations in Saskatchewan, so in the center of the country from 10,000 years ago. And some here too, some prehistoric. Then really, I don't know anyone that would say they're Canadian and they're not First Nations. So if you're already not Canadian, if you already maybe don't even pay taxes or contribute like that, if you already have properties in your former country, be it Lebanon or Greece or wherever, so what's another step to take and become now part of the United States? You can like the venture capitalists do, or private equity companies do. You buy whatever company, cut the fat, and make it profitable and workable, and then that extra money technically, hopefully, should go into the citizens, or fixing the roads or the infrastructure or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't, even if they mismanage it, then that pool of money, to me, it's still better than what's happening today, right now, with once the sun goes, the cloud goes over the sun, it gets cold. Because I don't want to see people get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars plus their expense accounts and golden parachute pensions while doing nothing. That's just not productive. And, you know, I look forward to a day that possibly those hackers maybe even can be replaced. You know, the hundreds or thousand people that I mentioned, that they can hack into things and they can disable whatever country or military or whatever. Because if as they're doing that, if we can teach AI what the programs or whatever that these hackers are doing, the AI will teach itself, and then AI will eventually retire those hackers. And I know what some of you are thinking, but hear me out. If the scenario is this: if you're worried about the AI taking over and it will be so much worse than now, I can prove to you, I can give you evidence of how that's not going to be the case. And watch this. So an AI is taking over, say, like the justice system. Do you like the justice system where you live? You think it's fair? What about the policing? If you think that an AI robot or whatever can be hacked into, well, how many movies have you seen wherever you live in many countries around the globe? Maybe not in your country, but police and or army and or government officials could be and are, I know, not your country, I know, and are, come on, I know you're thinking it, I know you know what I'm about to say. They're corrupt. They're taking money from whatever to whoever to do whatever that this other entity wants them to do. Would AI do that? I don't know. But even if they do it, I just don't want to see people doing this to themselves. I'm okay with a robot or a machine doing things to me. I'm not okay with other human beings doing these injustices and what tyrannies, and you know what I mean, right? Tortures or whatever to me. I'm not okay with another being like me doing all these, mismanaging my funds. I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with doctors taking whatever bribes to prescribe one medication, one medical company over the next. I'm not okay with any of these things. And I know it happens a lot, but I'm just thinking, how much worse would it be for AI to be in control of things? In fact, I sincerely believe that the programmer up there, as I call them, or the AI in the sky, is already happening. All of this stuff that we're talking about, what I'm saying to you, what the radios are telling us, other than what I'm telling you, is all irrelevant. It's all programmed. It's all predestined, pre-written by the guy upstairs, and we're just players in it. We're just doing whatever that he's written this today. I mean, you have very little say. You have very tiny little say. We'd like to think that we have a lot of say. In my opinion, we don't have a lot of say. I mean, how else do you justify all the injustices that's happening around the globe? Do you understand? It's not luck. It's not luck that Jeff Bezos should be worth as much as that, or the Airbnb guy, or the Uber guy. These are goony goo goo insane business models. To have someone drive you, other than a cabbie, drive you somewhere, and you're not worried about how you get home and what's going to happen to you, and if you're not going to get ripped off. All of these, so many things. Or someone coming to sleep in your house, not to be worried about all the things that can go wrong, and then yet these people are billionaires, or Zuckerberg, just so you can keep tab on, you think, on your friends. Meanwhile, he's keeping tabs on you, sending you all these ads and targeted ads and all these things. These are insane business models. It doesn't make sense. I'm okay with Elon. Elon's invested all this money in hardware, software, people. He has tangible things. In fact, if you're watching me now, it's thanks to him that I have high-speed internet to do this. But again, he's also a player in this game that the guy upstairs has designed. But that's a topic for another story. For another day. Well, all I'm trying to hopefully persuade you or present to you is that by going AI or whatever, some other entity, or getting rid of all this fat, we're not going to be, trust me, it doesn't make sense for us to be worse off than where we are now. And a lot of people, if you've never watched a documentary, you've never heard people from other countries, literal people like me, physical, literal people from another country, doesn't matter if they're from Africa, Middle East, or whatever, tell you stories of where they're from, how their government treats them. When you hear that and you think this is what they're doing to their own countrymen, you'll know that AI cannot do worse. It just cannot do worse, because we're doing it to ourselves, whether it's directly torturing and killing or whatever, or confiscating people's properties and money, or freezing their accounts, or whatever. It's all the same. Force feeding them genetically modified poison, forms of drugs that's good for you, all of these things. So I'm okay with what's going on south of the border. I know that they'll never come over here and take over Canada, and I'm saddened by it. It's just false, not even promises. But if they did, I would be happy. Right now, I'm happy for the American citizens, what is it called, American people, what these two, at least the Donald and Elon, are doing for them. I'm not. It's all foreign to me, that what's going on there. I've never had a politician do anything for me here in Canada, or something to this scale, to any scale, now that I think of it. Anyway, I better go make my way over to say my goodbye. I hope I was in the shot this whole time. Otherwise, you heard what I had to say. That was the message. Nobody needs to see my ugly mug. And we had a decent amount of snow recently, and I'll just show you a little bit if you're interested. Otherwise, maybe I can shoot another video. Oh, it's frozen. I actually did shoot a video. I'll turn this around. I did actually shoot a video on how we hired our one of our farmer friends to come and plow yesterday. This is about 4 feet right there is what you're looking at. That's how much snow we've had in a month or two, and we have about, hopefully, less than 2 months left. But listen, this is it. If you don't want, there's a picnic table. You can see by comparison, as a point of reference, how much snow there is. If you want, no. If you don't want fleas, if you don't want droughts, if you don't want super hot summers, then this is what you get. You can't have everything. I don't know how many countries have 4 seasons anymore. So it's either this or that, or and also, which is the other thing I don't understand, real estate prices are so high in places where it doesn't snow or doesn't snow much or whatever. Anyway, one last turn around. I like to say, happy thoughts. Oh, you've seen that already. Happy thoughts, happy words, and happy deeds, or good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Take good care, folks.